Hi, everyone. This is Lauren Baker with Search Engine Journal. Welcome to today's SEJ webinar brought to you by Ahrefs. With me today, I have Andrei, Product Marketing Lead at Ahrefs. Hey, Andrei, how's it going?
Hey, Lauren. Yeah, all good. Pretty interesting time now that AI search is changing the traditional search, but that's what we're here for. And thanks for inviting me to this webinar.
Absolutely. It's probably going to change a little bit more by the time we're done with the webinar as well. So that's the pace things seem to be going right now.
Yep.
Before Andrei gets started, with all 75 slides, so get ready for some great knowledge and information, especially in terms of AI search. And I really like how this is positioned to the CMO, right? Because not only is this important from an SEO perspective, but from a brand identity perspective with everything with Brand Radar, just really understanding how your brand is perceived and served in not only Google AI, but all AI results. Just wanted to get things started as people are trickling in with how today's webinar is going to work. So it's an hour-long webinar. During the webinar, we really encourage you, to use our chat features. Right now you can just type in where you're coming in from, whether it's the U.S., North America, Europe, anywhere else in the world. It's always really interesting to know. Also, you'll see a Q&A box in the webinar panel as well. While Andrei is presenting, please feel free to ask questions. Then when the presentation is over, we're going to be going through the bulk of those questions live. That way we'll be able to answer any specific questions you have on winning an AI search with Ahrefs. I see a lot of people are chiming in right now, so this is really cool to see. Also, we're going to be having 2 polls today. Really encourage everyone to participate in those. And speaking of questions, the question we get most of the time is, will the slides and the video be made available? The answer is yes to all attendees and registrants. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Also, you'll notice under Andrei's slides are some emojis. So please feel free to, click on the happy face, the heart, raise the roof, everything else. Let him know how he's doing. And on that note, we're already a couple minutes in. I'm going to drop off. I'll be launching the polls as we do them, Andrei. And then also I'll be back on camera for the live Q&A.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. So welcome everybody to today's webinars, the CMO's Guide to Winning in AI with Ahrefs. My name is Andrei. I'm the head of product marketing here at Ahrefs. And as Lauren said, if you have any kind of questions, be sure to post them in the chat. I'm joined by my colleague Gordon, he's from product marketing, and also my colleague Rob, he's from enterprise team. So if you have product or pricing related question or anything that has to do with SEO or the new state of AI search, there we have those guys. We're also going to have a Q&A. So let's jump in. And we're going to come with a hard fact. Let's face it, organic search is harder than ever. Zero-click content, that being those searches that answer the searcher's query on the SERPs, rendering 0 clicks, are actually taking 60% in the US and close to 60% as well in Europe. Google is also throwing at us different curveballs in the form of different algorithm updates. So you either adapt or you die 1,000 deaths cut. Not to mention that AI search is slowly but surely gaining traction as a new marketing channel. In fact, in our latest study, we found out that 1 in all of the surveyed websites had at least 1 visitor coming through AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Google AI Overviews. That's actually about as much as Reddit, to be honest. And traffic from Reddit kind of picked up in November 2024. But by the time of presenting this webinar, this presentation, I'm sure that AI has already outpaced Reddit. So given all these kind of changes in the current search environment, this begs the question, what is the moat to these changes? And I want to make it a bit clear here, because no matter if you're a CMO or you're a marketer, there's always been a bunch of different marketing channels to build a brand, but there's never been at the same time so many that are so crucial and valuable like they are today. In fact, even us at Ahrefs are racking our brains up every day and night how to actually stay top of mind in our customers' brains and be sure we are in front of them. We are on all those evolving channels and we meet them in the channels that they're used to consume content. Short bracket, we call this in the product marketing team, fire all cannons at once. So we try to be where all our customers are. We try to meet them there, no excuse. So as I said, this begs the question, how do you actually build a brand that stands the test of time and is future-proof of this kind of search changes? Well, the one constant that we have is brand awareness. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, people remember, search about, and talk about your brand. This will help you to actually strengthen your SEO strategy altogether. It will also help you lower your cost of acquisition across different channels. And it will also help you increase your chances of ranking in AI-driven search results. And if you think about it, brand equity actually compounds. So the more brand recognition, loyalty, and trust you build, the more profitable and also the more brand protection you will have, which will help you to actually survive and thrive in this ever-changing search environment. So what I'm going to show you in this presentation is exactly this, how to future-proof your brand in today's and tomorrow's search environment. I'm going to talk about what brand metrics, brand awareness metrics to track. Then I'm going to move on to how to monitor your brand visibility in AI search chatbots and how to facilitate that. And last but not least, I'll talk about how to automate those marketing tasks that help you increase your brand awareness across all channels. All right, let me just take a sip. You'll get all the slides at the end, so we'll have the sources as well. For now, let's just focus on how brand awareness altogether and the presentation can help you win in AI search. So the first topic, brand awareness metrics. Now, if you think about branding, it's always been this kind of like hard to measure fuzzy channel. On one hand, you have the brand outcomes, which are quite subjective. They're based on emotional decisions. I'm talking about brand recognition, affinity, and also brand sentiment. On the other hand, you also have brand content that's not belonging to you. It might be a content that's written by somebody else mentioning your brand. Hence, you cannot track the performance of those metrics. But you can still track brand awareness. And when done right, the opportunity cost is actually huge. So what I wanted to show you is, in fact, that according to one of the pro SEOs in the industry, Mark Williams Cooks, Google actually assigns sites a site quality score based on a few brand metrics. And those would be branded keywords. We have brand mentions. Those would be anchor text sitting next to your brand. And we also have website clicks. So in this case, actually increasing your prominence in those kind of endpoints, so to say, will also increase your brand awareness and search rankings at the same time. This is just for those who are interested in proof. There is proof. And I want to show you how to track a few key metrics for brand awareness. The first one being organic share of voice. Now, organic share of voice is really important because it shows you the percentage of organic traffic you own from the total organic search market. In other words, it tells you what's your brand's popularity in regards to your competition, and it should help you effectively decide if you are dominating a niche or you are lagging behind. Now, I've already covered the definition. So organic share of voice shows you how much organic traffic your brand owns as a percentage of the total search market. And here's the formula. But as I said, why this metric is important to us is because it shows you your brand's popularity in regards to other competitors. So to monitor that in Ahrefs, just go over to Site Explorer. This is our competitive intelligence tool. Head over to the overview report. And what I did here is to actually add my own brand along with 3 other competitors. And I've selected the share of voice. Now, as a CMO or as a marketer, what I want to do, I cannot do this right now here because I'm not in the app, but what I want to do is actually hover over this graph and see what's the brand search market increase or decrease in regards to my competitors. I don't know, there might be a decrease, for example, because of a Google algorithm update that one of your competitors is taking advantage on, and you are losing that. So you want to proactively monitor the dips and the spikes and dips of all those share of voice growth overall as a market. That was the first brand awareness metric. We're gonna focus on the next one, which is the organic share of traffic value. Now, this is similar to the last metric. It ties closely to it, but to explain it first, I need to explain traffic value. Now, traffic value, how to put it? Let's start with content. It's quite hard to actually measure content ROI. So we at Ahrefs thought of a different way. We thought of showing you your brand's dollar value in terms of the organic traffic would have if it were acquired via PPC in Google Ads. So the organic share of traffic value shows exactly that, the dollar value of the organic traffic of your brand owns as a percentage of the total search market. Now, why is this important? Because you can actually tell your superiors what's the dollar value of your brand as a way to take your organic keywords and multiply them by their CPC value in Google Ads. How to monitor this in Ahrefs? Repeat the same steps as before. So I've added my own brand versus 3 other competitors. Only this time, choose share of traffic value. And this is going to tell me in real time, okay, what's the value of my content, organic content, dollar value against all the other competitors. So if your CMO is asking like, hey, what's up? What's the actual investment that you have, the ROI of your content? You can simply pull up this graph, show it to them, and prove what's the value of your content benchmarked against the competitors. All right. The next brand awareness metric I want to touch upon is branded keyword search volume. In fact, this is quite crucial because if your branded search volume is not growing, it effectively means your brand is more or less dying. So no brand awareness equal no pipeline equal no sales. So to even strengthen this point even further, we've actually done our own study, which shows that 45.7% of searches are Google branded. So nearly half of them are branded, which is an even much more stronger point to track branded keyword search volume. In fact, we also have a new discovery. You can click on it. This is a search study not done by us, but by Growth Memo from Kevin Indig. And it also shows that branded search volume is the biggest predictor of mentions in ChatGPT. But we'll focus on that a bit later down in the presentation. For now, let's focus on how to actually track and monitor your branded search volume in Ahrefs. So what I would do is I would go to Keywords Explorer. That's our Keywords Explorer tool. I type in Ahrefs. So this is your brand name, could be your brand name, followed by a few misspellings. So I have Ahrefs, A-F-R-E-R. Anyway, funny names to pronounce, Ahrefs. Then I would actually go to the matching terms report. This helps me expand on those initial seed keywords. And as you can see here, we have the global search volume right on top of the keyword list. And for Ahrefs is 1.7 million. Okay, what does this mean? This is actually the search demand for my particular brand or a particular brand from a competitor. So what you can do as a CMO or as a marketer is actually see what's the potential for a brand in a specific niche, whether or not it makes sense to actually go for it. And what I want to show you next is also how to track it for your own brand. So if you go to the right, you can see that we have a growth forecast. I can tell what's my global search volume for the future to understand if my brand is growing actively or slowly dying. So this is a proof of concept for anybody who's doing forecasting or who needs to do kind of projections in meetings with stakeholders to understand, okay, what's our brand doing at this point and in the future, and whether or not you need to take action at ASAP to survive the next year. So really awesome. You have the growth search volume here, and you can also check the forecast again to see if your brand is thriving or dying. All right, the last brand awareness keyword metric, it's called branded keywords traffic. And if you're right already at this point, you know how to prove the effectiveness of your campaigns with the branded search volume. But the question is, how many of those searches actually transform, render into clicks? So this is where branded keyword traffic comes into place. I think it's quite self-explanatory, but what I encourage you to do is to go to Ahrefs Site Explorer tool. That's our competitive intelligence tool again. Type in your brand and you will see the branded versus non-branded organic traffic for your own website. And if you want to see that with delta values to see what's the progress compared to the last week, month, year, whatever, then I recommend going for the organic keywords by search intent widget. Now, a word of caveat here, at the moment in Ahrefs, every branded keyword means your brand plus other brands in your niche. It's a small bug, I think medium bug, whatever, but we're going to fix it. We're aware of it. We actually have a different kind of what's called semantics model that's going to cluster the branded versus non-branded keywords in a much more efficient way. All right, so I touched upon 4 different brand awareness metrics. Of course, I didn't talk about social media metrics or direct traffic. If you want to go more in depth about those brand awareness metrics, which are the most important ones and how to track them, I recommend you our colleagues Louise' article. You can scan the QR code here. You'll get the slides afterwards, and you can check whether or not you are on track. All right, we're on to our next point from the presentation, and that's brand visibility in AI search chatbots. And before that, I simply want to start a poll. So how many of you are actually tracking brand mentions in AI? There's a polls section at the top. Yeah. Are you tracking brand mentions in AI chatbots? And if yes, I'm going to click on yes. I'm curious, which AI chatbots are you currently looking at? There's Google AI Overviews, there's Perplexity, and there's also ChatGPT. Those being the top 3 most important ones. So please answer the polls in the top right corner. This helps us also to understand what kind of mentions in which channels are you following, so we know whether or not or how to actually respond to those kind of things. So let's see.
Real quick, Andrei, the answers for the first question, we have to launch one at a time. So are you tracking brand mentions in AI chatbots?
Whoa. Okay.
Very little R, right?
Yeah, right. I thought it would be 50-50, but it's not.
So I'm gonna go ahead and close this one.
All right.
And then launch the second.
Yeah, I think I was too fast. So if you already track brand mentions in AI, curious, what channels are most of interest to you? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Perplexity? Or is it Google AI Overviews, which has the largest market share, and it's already trimming off some of our organic traffic rankings? This is also happening at Ahrefs, so it's not an individual case. It's something that's been documented and currently being documented by a lot of SEOs.
There's a little bit of a delay with the results. They're coming in though right now. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. We'll wait.
Let's see. We have about a third of attendees have voted already, being that 30% are tracking. Here's what we see thus far.
Okay, so ChatGPT is closely catching up. Google AI Overviews, Perplexity still down the road, but I think we can talk about use cases and how you actually do that, or what kind of signals you're interested when tracking those mentions in these kind of channels. But thank you a lot, everybody. This gives me an idea about what's everybody doing and how I can structure the presentation forward. So everybody probably thinks that now with the advent of AI chatbots, Google's market share is kind of small, right? They're releasing AI overviews because their market share is down, right? Well, that's not quite true. In fact, Google sends 345 times more traffic than the top 3 AI chatbots. That's Gemini, so Google's Gemini, Perplexity, and ChatGPT combined together. So AI search also sends just 0.1% of total referral traffic, you have the LLM column here to the right in the bottom right corner. That's shy to 0.2% for email and 0.5% to paid. So even though it's a new channel and it's growing as fast as ever, it's still dwarfed by search and direct traffic, which also relates to brand. But one does not simply use AI search merely for clicks. In fact, brand recognition is the byproduct of good content, good branding, whether that's surfaced in an AI-generated summary, in a content blog post, or even in a YouTube video. So those AI search related queries can actually help increase your brand awareness. They also have a more positive brand sentiment because it's referenced by a chatbot, not necessarily by somebody who you pay a link to, and you have a sponsored tag there. And they're also more qualified traffic and leads because those people already are aware of your brand, so they already recognize it the moment they see it next to other brands. So the question begs, how to track brand mentions in AI search chatbots? I've seen some people ask that in the chat already. And the way we Ahrefs have answered to that question is to release our own product called Brand Radar. And Brand Radar is, as the name suggests, it's a tracker. It helps you track your brand's mentions in AI search, particularly in Google AI Overviews for now. But we're also going to launch ChatGPT and Perplexity. So we're going to be able to track mentions in both of those chatbots that you've already voted for and you're already interested. So ChatGPT, of course, because that has the largest market share after Google AI Overviews, but we also take into account Perplexity because it's one of the pioneers in this industry. In fact, it's quite funny because at the moment of creating this presentation, the slides, which was like 1 or 2 months ago, we had this. But right now, if you check the interface in Ahrefs, we've also launched a web index. So you can actually check your brand mentions across the web in traditional search as well. So how does this tool actually work? As you can see here, I'm not sure, I hope you do. There's a scope, let's say rectangle at the beginning, and I want to search within that particular scope. So the broad scope is basketball shoes. And then I want to find brand mentions, products, or services within that scope. So within basketball shoes, I want to search for Nike, for example. And what I did here was type in Nike, click on suggest more, which is below. And this automatically generated me a few other competing brands next to Nike in the same niche. Now, if I hit explore, I'll get exactly what you think you're going to get. You'll see a number of mentions in AI search, Google AI Overviews in this case, for Nike and all of its competitors. And there's also a table below that can tell me what's the market share in terms of those AI mentions, and also a competitive share. Competitive share being between the competitors themselves, market share within the scope, the broad one that we typed in initially. And that was basketball shoes. So for anybody who's trying to understand how my brand is performing in Google AI Overviews, Brand Radar is the answer. And you can also get the report in terms of how you benchmark against competitors, and also what's the market share, how is it evolving, and whether or not I should be proactive with this channel, where, to be honest, first mover advantage does count. You also get a number of AI mentions, a number of results. This is keywords or AI overviews. You can be more specific and choose just AI overviews. And you also get the exact mentions, the keywords that triggered those kind of conversations. So athletic shoe industry mentions Nike and other competitors. So if you're not there, you probably should get into it. In fact, bonus, we also allow you to track your AI visibility gaps and fill them. So what I did in this case, I want to check AI overviews that contain the word, the brand Adidas, but do not contain the brand Nike. And luckily for us, for the query worst basketball shoes, Nike is not mentioned. So this is probably some content gap that we are not actually interested to fill in. But you got my point. You can actually check where your brands are being mentioned and you aren't in AI search results. So it's easier for you to fill those gaps and reach out to those articles or websites that are mentioning them, but not you, in the hopes of being there. That was it with Brand Radar, which leads me to my next question: how to actually get mentioned by AI search chatbots. Now, just to be clear, this is quite the new science, art, whatever. It's a new field, so people are still figuring it out. What we've noticed is that you should actually follow two vital strategies or tactics, so to say. The first one, don't block your LLM crawlers, because if you do that, it's basically brand suicide. Instead, what you should do is to actually show the LLM crawlers what parts of your website to crawl. That's an even smarter and better approach. So if you have a part of your website that doesn't need to be indexed or doesn't need to be, not necessarily indexed, sorry, doesn't need to be cited in AI-generated search results, then you better not show it. You better hide it from LLM crawlers. I can give an example, pagination, for example. So in a case of a traditional search crawler, web search crawler, pagination is important because it shows you that there's still content left to be indexed by it on a website. But in the case of an LLM that doesn't really need that, it just extracts information to answer some informational or transactional queries. You don't need that, so you might as well hide pagination. That was the first tip we give you to show up in LLM crawlers much faster. The second one is to create deep, comprehensive content. This is not our study. This is from Kevin Indig again. And he actually compared the content attributes, a few content attributes, in relation to their discoverability by LLMs. And it turns out that word count, sentence count, and domain rating are closely tied to more show-ups in AI search results. This only shows you, this only tells you that you need to create content, in-depth content over a long period of time to create a brand. And I let our CMO, Tim Solo, say that in his own words. So we simply spent the last decade at Ahrefs creating great tools for marketing and SEO. We then published tons of content on different problems to solve those kind of marketing and SEO issues. And then we by educating and supporting our customers, they became evangelists and would create tons of content mentioning Ahrefs. So the bottom line here is, if you're trying to understand what kind of signals do these AI search chatbots take into account, for now, they're simply SEO-based signals. If you want to dig more into this, just scan this QR code. It's an article from Ryan Law, our Director of Content Marketing, and it basically arrived at the same conclusion. If you have more questions on this topic, we can talk it in the Q&A. I do have some interesting findings apart from what I said so far. Let me grab a sip. All right. And we're down to our last point in the presentation. So if by now you already know what brand awareness metrics to track, and you also know how to monitor brand mentions in AI search and how to get how to increase your visibility out there, now it's time to actually show you how to automate marketing tasks that increase your brand awareness. And the 3 AI marketing automations that I have here are actually created by marketers from Ahrefs for marketers like you. So you're actually in good hands. And I'm going to go with the most common application of AI, and that is to create content. That's done in Ahrefs via 2 tools. First one is Keywords Explorer, and the second one is AI Content Helper. Now let's go into the first one. Keywords Explorer AI Search Intents. What I mean by that, let's say cornerstone of any sound content strategy is to pick the right keywords. Once you actually pick the right keywords, you target the right keywords, you need to manually scroll through top 10 search results, see what are the angles covered, and figure out a way to outrank them. The problem is that this process is kind of manual, takes a few hours. So we decided, hey, let's just automate it. So whenever you go in Keywords Explorer and you open up a keyword, I went for keyword research here in the top left corner, you can open up the top 10 search results for it and click on Identify Intents. What this will do is it will tell you exactly what people are searching for. So it will map out all the search intents for that particular keyword. And you're also going to get a percentage breakdown of how much it occupies from the overall top 10 search results. So what I can do here, I can either create an article that targets the dominant search intent. So free keyword research tools. People are searching for tools when they type in keyword research. They don't want to know about how to do keyword research. Or I can be smart and I can create an article that targets this search angle, 75% of it. And I also cover how to do keyword research, the actual process in the 40% of that particular article. So this helps me actually write a perfectly optimized SEO article that has the chances to rank for multiple keywords with just one page. So that was it when it comes to Keyword Explorer and automating the keyword research process. Once you've done that, we're going to move on to the next phase of AI content creation, which is done via AI Content Helper. And this is our writing assistant that helps you write SEO optimized articles, high quality ones, in a fraction of the time. Now, all you need to do is to paste the URL of your article that you're already ranking for, and followed by the target keyword. And what you're going to get is this text editor that you see in front of you, followed by a content score in the top right corner that speaks about your content coverage. You'll also get topics. These topics are taken from the top 3 search results, or top 10. It's up to you which you decide. And they help you see what kind of topics are tackled by the competition, so you can close the topical gap. And we even show the relevant terms, as I said, to close that topical gap. So we spoon feed you what kind of stuff you need to add into each paragraph, into each topic, so you achieve a high score. A high score would be anything above 75, but I wouldn't optimize too much about it, because you are actually defeating the purpose of the article. The article needs to rank, not necessarily to hit high scores. You're not doing a test. As usual, you can ask AI in the text just as much as you would do with somebody who proofreads your copy, to rephrase it or make it more compelling, add certain points that make it more compelling in the eyes of Google. And they can also help you brainstorm ideas that help you add topical informational gain. So that was AI Content Helper. And we pretty much covered all the AI content creation process. These are both tools available in Ahrefs. We're moving on to the next workflow, and that's to automate the website performance, to put it on autopilot. And this is made possible through our site audit tool. This is the best site auditing tool on the market. Why? Because we tackle the most issues, 170 plus on-page and technical SEO issues. And also because we have this automated part that I'm going to show you next. We're actually the only automated site audit automated tool on the market. And I'm going to talk about always on audits. And to talk about that, let's just remember how an audit works. So usually you run a traditional audit. So if, say, I want to run a site audit to catch my site's issues, I would probably run it on Monday, every week or every month. But the problem is that if I have an error that shows up on Tuesday, then I would have to wait until next Monday or the Monday from next month to catch that issue. Well, this is kind of cumbersome, because if it's a critical issue and you have lots of pages, that can actually plummet your rankings. So what we thought about is a process called always on audits, which fixes this issue. Always on audits are a new crawling stage phase, so to say. It crawls your website 24/7. Think of it more as a real-time alert system. And it actually complements scheduled audits, so you can catch those critical issues before they impact your search rankings. As an add-on, because this is a project-based add-on, you can actually increase the speed of your always on audit, so you can crawl up to 30 URLs per minute for non-verified websites, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to touch on that. If you have questions, there's Rob in the chat, so you can talk with him. Always on audits also enriches your crawls, so you can see, for example, like in this case, what's new on a daily basis. You can see, for example, the number of pages added also on a daily basis, and any kind of changes that happen on a daily basis on your site in terms of issues, pages added, links added, you name it. But as I said, this is an add-on, and I wouldn't necessarily enable it for all of my projects. I would probably enable it for very big projects that have 10,000 plus pages, and where one critical, 404 can actually plummet my rankings. So that's where always on audits are most significant, and where I recommend them. The next part of the automated website performance process is patches. Now, before it was quite hard to actually fix something on your website. You always had to call your developers or send them an email with a list and instructions on how to do it. But with patches, you can actually fix simple SEO issues. Let's talk about meta tags that are too long or missing directly from Ahrefs. And that's possible because we have two deployment methods, so JavaScript snippet and Cloudflare workers. They act on your behalf to push those changes live. So for example, we do work with WordPress at Ahrefs. I work with WordPress. I'm not a technical person. If I do have a problem, like, I don't know, say a meta description that's been changed by Google, which happens a lot, then I can just make the change directly in Ahrefs, push it, and I don't have to resort to my colleagues and waste any of their time, because these are small changes that I can perform on my own. So how do you do that? Once you're in site audit, you have this patch it column. Probably don't see it here, but you will see it after you receive the slides. What I can do is just click on the cursor for this field. This is a meta description that's missing. I can ask AI to generate a meta description individually, or I can also do it in bulk. So if I have a bunch of pages, in this case 198, that are missing a meta description or title, then I can generate that in bulk without having to focus useless time to fix it. And the good news is that you can actually also automate links. That's something that we're working on. It is coming soon. You will be able, for example, to push redirects to implement them from Ahrefs, again, without having to resort to developer help. And that wraps up the part with automated site audits. Again, Ahrefs is the only tool that has automated tech SEO in terms of automated site audits and patches at scale that help you do this without relying on devs. And the last step of this AI workflows puzzle, so to speak, is AI translation, or more or less localization. So if you're wondering, how can I actually unlock a new marketing channel overnight? Well, the easiest answer is to translate the content on your website in the language of your audience on the globe. The problem, this is quite a cumbersome and time-consuming process, even expensive one, because first you need to find translators, you need to proof check them, and there's a lot of back and forths between you arrive at the final version. And you also need to run that keyword list into an SEO tool like ours to see what's the search volume, what are the opportunities, and whether or not it's worth pursuing those keywords. Well, we've automated that as well. So in Ahrefs, we introduced AI translations. They help you translate your keyword list into 40 plus languages and also dialects. So for example, if you are from Germany and you want to translate keywords in Austrian German or Switzerland German, you can do that. Same goes for Mandarin if you want to translate it into other types of more modern Chinese. After you input your keyword list, there's a translate keyword here. You pick your language and the country for which you want to see the SEO metrics, and we'll show you all the variables we found, all the alternatives, translated alternatives, along with the search volume. So for example, in this case, we have in English the keyword hotel with hot tub in room. We've translated this in German, and our system has found 3 similar keywords with 3 different search volumes. So hotel mit Whirlpool im Zimmer, which is more or less the same translation, has the highest search volume, but hotel Zimmer mit Whirlpool, which is hotel room with hot tub, or Whirlpool as the Germans like to call it, has a search volume which is 3 times smaller. And if we go with the third one, which is more or less same, but it doesn't call it a Whirlpool, but a jacuzzi, the hot tub in itself, then we have an even lower search volume. So it's up to you. You actually replace 3 or 4 translators with just one translator who needs to translate those keywords into Ahrefs, proof check them to see if the transcreation process was right, and then pick the right keyword with the highest search volume. So I think this is also cool, and we're pretty much wrapping up all the presentations so far. And as I said, so far I've showed you how to withstand the ever-changing search environment that we're currently in. It's being disrupted by AI. And I've shown you how to do that in 3 ways: which brand awareness metrics to track, how to track your brand mentions in AI and how to improve it, and also how to automate workflows that increase your brand awareness. I want to leave you with this. I think it's a premature premise, but still valid. You can't shortcut brand. I know it's slow, it's fuzzy, but there's never been a better time to actually be on all of those marketing channels and to actually be top of your mind for your customers in a channel like AI search. So this is a challenge, but at the same time, it's an opportunity. Before leaving and going to the Q&A, I want to make a shameless plug. We have an Ahrefs certification. We've launched it like 2 or 3 months ago. If you are already an Ahrefs users and you want to turn your Ahrefs skills into something tangible and unlock better roles, bigger clients, lasting marketing success, then I encourage you to take the 1-hour test and also get the certification. And yeah, that's about it from me. Let's go into the Q&A session.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrei. So lots of great information. A lot of good questions came in as well. A bit of them, Gordon has been answering a lot of these questions behind the scenes, but we're going to go ahead and ask them for the public at large, or at least our attendees, to go through as well. So first question comes in from Ella. Ella asks, what do the sites gaining the most traffic from AI overviews have in common, according to Ahrefs data and overall research?
Ella, very awesome question. We found out 2 things. So unlike SEO, I think this is the most important part. So unlike SEO, branded linked mentions do not count anymore so much. Branded mentions next to a category keyword like project management, we call them co-branded mentions, are the ones that matter. So as I said, this kind of like drives the point to what I was talking about in the whole presentation. Branded mentions do matter, and they do not need to be linked. They don't have to be linked citations. This is actually good, in fact, because you don't need to waste a lot of time and budget on buying thousands of links to show up everywhere. But it does make the point for PR. So you need to build a brand slowly across a multitude of channels that mention your brands. The second thing, apparently LLMs prefer different kind of content as opposed to Google, as opposed to traditional search engines. So in the case of LLM, they do not prefer listicles. This is also good. I'm a marketer. I've been a content marketer before. I hated my life for doing those listicles. Best project management tool for agency. Best project management tool for software developers in whatever niche. So the good news, LLMs don't value listicles that more. They value independent content pages and images more. So you might focus on that. Those are the 2 things I would say to focus on. As I said, we have a article. I linked a QR code in the second point of the presentation about it. GEO, LLMO, AIO. These are all SEO, but we did in fact find some points that differentiate AI search from traditional search. Those 2 points I touched upon, but there are other like 3 or 4 that are also important.
Thank you. Next question that comes in from Matt is, in the AI content helper, how are related terms generated? Are these NLP terms?
Good question. They're not NLP terms. We take your primary keyword for which your article already ranks for, and then we look for the top 10 search results for that particular keyword, and we extract all the subtopics from your competing websites on that keyword. So those related terms that you have there are generated from our, to answer your second question, that's the main question, but I needed to explain that initially. We actually take it from all the semantically related keywords. I wouldn't call them NLP terms, but yeah, we do have an index and we do create it from there. And that's also, again, based on what each subtopic of the competition is covering. So that's more or less the source. And then we check our index. We have most of our content index is powered by our LLM tools. In fact, we had such a high speed at which we crawl data and we enhance it that we needed to build our own LLM. So we have, I think, the 34th supercomputer in the world, and that's the one that's powering this kind of index.
Very cool. Very cool. Question is Brand Radar available for Canada and other countries yet?
Yeah, Absolutely. Like you have all the countries for which you have AI overviews available for. It's not, I'm from Romania, I'm from Europe, so I do not have that yet, but it's available for US, Canada. There's a country drop down that you can check. And for now, it's in a beta because we're still figuring it out what kind of features our users need, people in general who are just starting out to invest in this channel in AI search. But after that, it's going to be probably based on add-on. I'm not sure how much, but usually an add-on in Ahrefs for the whole account, it's $89, $99, depends. That's, for example, how much the content helper costs.
Got you. Next question that came in from JR is, this isn't necessarily related to AI search with Ahrefs, but they're wondering if there's a way to search for top-ranking keyword phrases in specific cities. I'm a light plan, but they can't find the feature. Is this a functionality available, or is it a different way to go ahead and pull those localized results?
You can do that in Rank Tracker. Even in the light plan, you can track keywords on a country, state, even zip code level. So you can already do that. Just go into the Rank Tracker tool. That's a classic one for checking positions across 190 plus locations and also their aforementioned zip codes. So you can go, for example, if you're in Texas, the state, probably, I don't know, a city in Texas, or you can go for Texas University or whatever. You can even go down to a zip code. That's possible even on the light plan. Check it out. If you're talking about Google My Business locations, then no, we are not doing that yet. It's something we are currently developing, so stay tuned.
Got you. Getting back to utilizing AI for content creation, Sanchita asks if both they and their competitors are utilizing Ahrefs tool, how can the brand be differentiated?
That's a very good question. We're having a feature, it's called Branded Kit. So basically you set the tone of your brand, the way you would like to sound it, written by somebody from your content marketing or branding team. That's one. But I do get it. I mean, if everybody's using those tools, what's the difference? Well, the difference lies basically in the one who writes it. Let's not forget this is a tool. We do not outsource creativity. Creativity is something in your power, and you are still in the driving seat. So the way to actually add informational gain is to talk about studies, experience, expertise, double it, EEAT, what Google calls it, so that you are more seen as a pertinent brand as opposed to somebody else because you have skin in game. That's not something you can outsource, in my opinion. What you can do with Ahrefs Content Helper, as I said, and with any kind of content writer on the planet at this point, is to actually optimize it so people and search engines can actually read it and crawl it at the same time. I would say if you bring it to 75, 80 for a given topic in Ahrefs, that's fine. Don't go above. But you still have to think about how you can add more value through studies, personal experiences, anything that interviews with, I don't know, people on the topic who are experts. I don't know, you're writing a WebMed article about whatever, hernia. But yeah, that's something that I wouldn't outsource, and I think creativity is still important. And I do think that people can, at this point, still write better than AI.
Of course, absolutely. The next question comes in from Wilson, and this kind of is looking for a little bit more expansion of what you discussed earlier in terms of hiding paginated pages from LLMs and what to hide and what not. So Wilson's question is, what types of content should be hidden from LLMs but still want to be indexed by search engines? How do we put a no index tag specifically for LLMs or another way to block them from indexing the content? And especially, can we distinguish AI overview from traditional Google search?
Awesome. These are actually two questions in one. So the first one being, how do we put a no index tag specifically for LLMs so that we block them to crawl specific parts of our website that we do not want surfaced in AI generated content? Second, how do we distinguish AI overviews in traditional Google search? I assume in Google Analytics, because that's where you want to see a difference between your traffic sources. So to answer your first question, there's no more robots. I mean, you have the robots text, that's for the crawler, the search engine crawler, but you also have llm.txt, that's a new file. And that's where you're basically telling the LLM crawler what to crawl and what not to crawl. The problem, they're kind of ignored. So whether, I don't know, Sam Altman at ChatGPT wants to crawl your content, he's going to do it anyway. So at this point, LLM.txt, that particular file that resembles the robots.txt file, is and it isn't useful. We do have an article about it. Gordon, can you actually link it in the chat, please? I think it's from Ryan. And he kind of arrived at the same conclusion. It's more or less useless at this point, and we'll see. They're moral, so not moral, you got the point, and ignoring LLM text at this point. To answer your second question, can we distinguish AI overviews from traditional Google search? Right now in Google Analytics GA4, you can't. I mean, you can, but with a lot of regex, and that's quite cumbersome if you don't know, if you're not too technical, although you could use ChatGPT to craft a regex prompt. But an even better way is to actually track it via our newly launched tool. It's called Web Analytics. It's a competitor to GA4. And we actually have there a LLM channel. So you see, okay, how many mentions I get, how many clicks I get from how many clicks I get from ChatGPT, Google AI Overviews, Perplexity, Copilot, Claude. So we have more modules, more chatbots covered than we initially have in Brand Radar. Just to make a distinction, Brand Radar is for mentions of your brand in AI search in those chatbots. If you want to see the actual traffic, the clicks, then you go for Ahrefs Web Analytics tool. We have an LLM channel there. It's very visible, something that GA4 doesn't do it. And Gordon, you can actually drop a link into the chat. It's a free analytics tool up to 1 million web sessions. So if you have a larger site, you could buy more additional credits for it. But otherwise, you have a free web analytics tool. It's also privacy first, super simple, lightweight script, doesn't slow down your website. And again, it's free. You don't need to pay for it or figure out your way like you need to do in GA4.
Excellent. One question that came through is you had discussed brand mentions and the importance of brand mentions and like building brand PR campaigns previously. What are some other strategies and ways to increase overall brand mentions and AI overviews?
I think we're coming back to how we did marketing like 10 years ago. And that's mostly, it's a slow process. You basically do it by being more or less everywhere. We call this strategy in the product marketing team at Ahrefs, fire all cannons at once. I want to be in all those channels where my people are, where my customers, prospects are, because I want to be top of their mind there. So that could be either via PR campaigns if you have a big brand, that could be via social media, that could be via word of mouth. We actually have that, we have like a bubble form, a pop-up form whenever you sign up to Ahrefs, and we explicitly ask people like, where are you coming from? We have a significant percentage from word of mouth, but now recently also from AI search. AI search is another channel. Let's scratch that off. Traditional search, you have paid traffic, of course. So you might have some landing pages for which you throw in some money and want to, I don't know, just promote them to somebody else. But I think it's coming back again to the marketing from 10 years ago when I started. It's a slow process. You want to pick the channels that you have a chance to win, and you want to make sure that you're slowly building up a brand there. The best part with AI search is that unlike SEO, you don't need to buy links finally. You just need to have those co-branded mentions, as we call them, in the right publications, on the right niche, I don't know, journals or whatever, so that you are regarded as somebody, as a brand that's pertinent, that has a deep skin in the niche that you are activating in.
Very good. We have two questions that came in from Schleiler. The first is, are there any direct advertising features offered in Google AI Overviews, ChatGPT, or Perplexity?
No, because as I said, we don't, I mean, it doesn't make sense to have a paid stuff there. And I don't think Google AI Overviews did include paid search results. I'm not sure about the rest. I didn't see paid ads in ChatGPT or Perplexity. My question is, why would you do that? I mean, what are you looking for? Are you looking for ad space to buy, or and
Good,
are there,
follow-up question. Not necessarily sure.
sorry, to answer the second question, are there any specific ad platforms you recommend brands to optimize content for? Based on what we've seen, ChatGPT is the strongest one. In one of the slides, I've showed it that top three, so ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, are combined together 345 times, have a lower volume of searches than Google AI Overviews. At this point in time, it's ChatGPT is 100x the volume of Google. So I say by Muir's law, probably we're going to have the same amount of ChatGPT versus Google searches in 1 year. So definitely ChatGPT first. Second, Perplexity. Perplexity was one of the pioneers. Definitely do that. Maybe Copilot. I don't have the number there. We do have a search study on it. I've linked to it in the presentation. Not sure if Copilot or Claude is next. Claude, I know it's mostly used for content writing, not necessarily for answering queries, but definitely ChatGPT and Perplexity. After Google AI Overviews, of course. I mean, that's a given.
Yes. And last question, it's a personal one. I was utilizing Brand Radar earlier to do some track some brand mentions, and one thing I noticed is that a lot of the brand mentions did not necessarily link to the brand page, but linked to the Google results themselves for the brand name or a product name or something like that. Do you have any good tips on tracking either impressions or click increases for those specific links that are being shown as brand mentions in Google AI Overviews?
That's a good question. I think it's also a good feature suggestion at the same time. We do show the links, so that's a given. You can actually see which links you need to go after, which publication you need to do outreach to be included. But we do not show that. It's actually a great idea, to be honest, because then you know, okay, I should probably focus on this. You know, basically know which publications to prioritize and which ones to keep in the backlog. But no, we do not have that available at the moment. But we do show those links, so it's important for you to follow them in case you want to be mentioned and close that AI visibility gap.
Yeah, and although we both have this in common that we hated writing listicles and or reading them, Google AI Overviews and ChatGPT do a good job of formulating their own listicles. So any ways in the future to, increase from like the number 4 position up to number 1 or number 2 is always something to keep an eye on as well. Andrei, thank you so much. We are out of time. Really impressed that you got through all 75 slides within 40 minutes or so. Any questions that we did not have a chance to get to today? Andrei, Gordon, and Rob on the Ahrefs team will be reviewing and hopefully be able to get back to you. And then to reinforce again, today's slides, the deck and video will be made available to all attendees. Andrei, thank you so much. Where can our attendees find you online?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I have a weird name, so if you write Andrei Țiț, yes, I know it's funny, but in my language it has different letters. You can find me there. You can also find me on X, Twitter, Andres Marcel. And if you have any kind of questions, you can reach out to me in support. I still snooping into some support chats to see what's the sentiment, what our Ahrefs users are searching for, what kind of problems they're encountering. So if you have any kind of problems with that, you can also reach out to me via support. And we also have a new YouTube channel. It's called Ahrefs Tutorials. Gordon, you can drop a link. Basically, I'm doing a bunch of tutorials, and the next ones are going to be how to rank in AI overviews in 6 steps. I'm going to also show you how to create an article with AI Content Helper from scratch. I'm also going to show you how to automate the website performance part. So we're now churning a lot of content. It's currently production on how to use those tools to actually increase your presence in AI search. So we're also not just talking the talk, we're also walking the talk.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrei, and to the team at Ahrefs for making today's webinar possible. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to utilizing more of the AI tools and solutions within Ahrefs. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.